You are tuned into the best damn college football show, period. This is United Football Media's Tell Me About It, coming to you twice a week. The NFL, the college show, everything that you could ever want from a football program. We got it going, and we got so much more coming up in the spring and summer. But right now, the kings of fall are rolling, the NFL and the college football. I did want to throw in, because I forgot the last couple of times, if anything big breaks, spring football wise, if any news breaks, if anything crazy happens, we will be bringing to you that at the top of the show on here. We are still natively a spring alternate football league programming, but we're covering the NFL and the college football for right now. But if something big happens in spring, we will be bringing it to you right here on this channel as well, right off the top of the show. Speaking of big things, another week of the college football playoff rankings. They fixed themselves a little bit. We don't have teams that are in the bracket that aren't even ranked in the top 25 this week. South Florida makes their debut in the bracket. Interesting. I think of all of the G5 teams, they would probably have the best bet of possibly being competitive because they have the one stud star player. That's a huge standout. And, kind of some murmurs about a Heisman candidate at the beginning. I mean, I don't know if that's died down a little bit, but what I do know is that guy's a stud. The quarterback for South Florida, going to give them a fighting chance in any game. To close out your brackets, we would have South Florida, Georgia, Notre Dame, Oregon. Interesting matchup there. Miami and Texas Tech. I am interested in that because of the reputation that Miami has and how they kind of play down to people sometimes. Texas Tech is very, very aggressive this year. Built like a more like an SEC team with defense in the running game. We never thought we'd see the day with Texas Tech, but that is what it is for them right now. And they handled business against the ace. He's not here this week. His opposite of beloved BYU last week. Texas Tech handled business and put it down on them the way we figured that they would.
Handled.
In the last matchup, after being left for dead, they have returned to spit on your grave. They have returned to find Victor, their creator, Texas. Texas in at number 10 against Ole Miss, who may or may not still have their head coach by the time this game would take place. Who knows? I hear Florida is nice this time of year. That's what's the scuttlebutt is going on there. Your four teams with a bye would be Alabama, Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Indiana. What do we think of this bracket this week? We'll talk about some bubble teams. Talk about some interesting games coming up. What's your take on the bracket there, Tug?
Thus far, I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record. We need more teams than 12, right? I love South Florida in here. I absolutely. The ACC may possibly not getting a squad through, right? If Miami loses two more games, Virginia loses. There is a world. I'm not the first person to say this. There is a world where an ACC team is not considered one of the top teams to go into this. But outside of that, man, SEC on SEC, Notre Dame on Big Ten right there, Texas Tech, Miami, that would be a bloodbath. I really think Texas Tech is just out here, playing football from the Big 12 on a mildly different level than many others, especially what you were saying about there being bad themes to certain teams, right? And when you disprove that multiple throughout a season, I'm always gonna vote for that squad. 100%.
Tay, what about you, man? Takes on this playoff bracket as it stands right now.
It's pretty cool. It's a lot of Big Ten, SEC. I mean, they're the best two conferences, but we got Texas Tech out the Big 12. They're clear. They're definitely the best team. In the Big 12. I would say that. I want to see Vandy. They got to somehow. They're at 14 right now. They got to get in. Something I don't know how they can. I got to see it. I think they'll give us a great game. I don't know if they'll win. They might sneak one, but I need them in. I don't know. they got to finish it off. They've been very competitive, very good this year for the first time ever. They were all right last year. but now they're actually good. They got to get in there at least. But yeah, it's definitely balanced this year. Like if you just think back to week 0, like I mean, Texas was ranked 1, like, and Texas looked terrible. Like a couple weeks ago, you would think like they're about to be unranked. They were ranked like 20 or something like that. So, it's cool to see where teams have stayed. Like some teams are still where they're at. Like some teams are ranked correctly, but others are terrible. Like, and then Bama too. A lot of people thought Bama was bad because they lost to Florida State, and then we also thought Florida State was good. They're terrible. Bama's actually pretty good. They just started off slow,
Just had that game.
Yeah.
So I do think for a spell, I think Texas was out of the top 25 for a minute. It was the week where James Franklin got fired because that was the line. It's like there's 2 teams that were in the top 3, both are out of the top 25. So for them to come all the way back, man, big time stuff. So you're right on it right there.
Texas, Penn State, Clemson, all of those with huge expectations beforehand. And even as an SEC guy, I'll say I don't believe Texas. I mean, just look at how many narrow losses they have, how many overtime performance. They went to overtime with Kentucky. A team that goes to overtime with Kentucky, I don't think should really deserves a higher spot. Yeah, at 10th, dude, at 10th. So the last team that actually makes it in before the group of 5 and an AC. Yeah, that's just got a little bit wild to me.
So looking at the Vandy schedule, what you were talking about, Tay, like you said, they're number 14 this week. They're right on the outside of the bubble. Unfortunately, they got Kentucky in the they have. So right now, Tennessee is ranked number 23, and they have the matchup against Tennessee. So if they can win and then
them,
convincingly beat Tennessee,
they're beating them.
And some of these other teams
Tennessee,
lose,
it is at Neyland.
It is at Neyland. Okay, so if they convincingly win, some of these other teams lose, and this is what we talk about. We talk about expansion. We talk about what numbers of teams should be in or should be out of the playoffs. Is we're talking about games all the way literally till past Thanksgiving that have an impact on an important numerous multiple. So there is a chance, depending on the other results, depending on how well that they do in these last 2 games, they might be a chance to. And I do agree. I like their scrappiness. I like their coach. Obviously, Pavia, I think he gives them a shot no matter who they're playing, and he believes it. And that's one of the biggest things. He believes it, and they believe it. So I agree. They'd be a very, very fun team to get in. See our other bubble teams. Oklahoma's right there on the outside. BYU, I think, might be goners. Utah right there. Georgia Tech right there. A big matchup coming up this week for you. It's USC against Iowa. It's pretty much over for UFC if they lose this game, but if they can beat Iowa, I think that gives them a chance to hop up to maybe 13, 14, 12 and be right there on the bubble heading into the backstretch of the season, the last few games. So let's talk about some of these bubble teams. Who do you like? Oklahoma, BYU, Utah, Vanderbilt, Miami, Georgia Tech, USC, Michigan right there on the outside as well. Do any of these teams interest you, Tug?
Iowa because they're conference, Georgia Tech because they're conference, and because of Haynes King. Miami, it was on this show. What was the phrase that I used? Arik mortgage in game number 1 of this season against Notre Dame. I felt very, very confident about that. Then I thought that Carson Beck was going to do what Carson Beck has done some of the time throughout this season, but I mean, it's college football, right? The problem is almost always consistency, and that has definitely been Carson Beck's issue. BYU, nah. I was mildly sold on them, but Bear Bachmeier is their entire squad, and when you have a more one-dimensional squad like that, I think that the writing can really be on the wall for when it comes to postseason stuff, even with an expanded playoff. I think you mentioned Texas Tech. Or no, you didn't mention Texas Tech. What was you spit out those teams rather quickly? Could you?
Well, it was a bubble. We're talking bubble teams. Texas Tech's already in, so
yeah.
We're talking teams just on the outside. Texas Tech is already pretty much locked up a spot.
You said a few teams there. If you could run through them again.
Oklahoma, BYU,
Oklahoma. Yeah,
Utah, Vandy. We already kind of discussed. Miami, Georgia Tech, USC, Michigan. Any stocks you'd like to buy?
USC, no, because I don't just think that Iowa's going to cover this week, and I think they're going to win them outright. I think they showed us everything that I need to see as far as defense, and the old adage about defense winning championships. And again, because of Iowa's conference, I love Haynes King, I love Georgia Tech, I love what they're doing down there, I love the story, I love everything about that. Even though, to be fair, they have a better defense than BYU. Georgia Tech has a better defense than BYU, but it is kind of the same question that are the same kind of thing that Haynes King is kind of like doing everything down there. Have y'all seen the reports about how he has like a higher pain tolerance? Like he's really actually been injured like this entire time, and every time he gets tackled, like this look on his face like seems like he's being tortured, but he just plays through it like consistently. I was reading an article about that he was talking about that and his coach just said like, yeah, he just got a higher pain tolerance than the rest of us. It's higher pain threshold. Love that.
So Georgia Tech has Boston College, currently number 22 ranked Pittsburgh. We'll see what happens with that because they play Notre Dame this weekend.
Yep.
I know Ace will be locked in for that one, hoping it goes one way. I guess we'll see. And then, lest we forget, Georgia Tech has Georgia at the end of the year.
That's true. That's very true.
And then possibly the ACC championship. So there is a path. There is a path that maybe we might see the guys from Atlanta make it in. They have, if they perform well down this stretch, there is a path for them as well. Tay, other than you already said Vanderbilt, is there any teams in this group that you like or would like to see maybe hop one of these other teams?
Yeah, I would definitely agree on Georgia Tech. It's definitely cool to see them though, because Georgia Tech weren't they like this option team? Like, weren't they a part of that crew too?
Yeah, they were the triple option for the longest. It's only been a couple of years.
They completely transformed, and now they're playing real football now. And
real foot, Jesus! All right, I'm immune.
It's paying off. But yeah, they're pretty cool. So I'm gonna definitely root for them. Their run schemes are crazy. They're very fun to watch. Haynes King, he's pretty good. One of the best running quarterbacks there is. I mean, really good with the ball. So yeah, I like Georgia Tech, but I feel like other teams that are outside looking in, like Michigan and USC, I feel like they're like a year away, or
yeah,
it's especially Michigan.
Yeah, like I don't both teams kind of just found their quarterback and kind of.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yep.
They're not like, if they don't make it, which they probably won't. They definitely. There's no way. But yeah, they're not. But they're not worried about it because I think they're looking like a year, maybe even 2 years out, maybe both. But I think most of the other teams like Virginia, Louisville, they're a little too far out. It's gonna take a lot for that, and I just don't think. Like, it's not that many games left for a lot to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know. It's definitely gonna be interesting with all the conference championship games. I wonder if I remember last year they were saying you can't lose out of the bracket. I wonder if they'll do it like that this year. In conference championship. If say you're like a 11 seed or something like that, and there's a 13 seed that's like, say they got a better record, but I gotta see how they do it this year.
So I have two rundowns for you guys left, and we'll see what you guys think. So, and it's the same that Ace isn't here because he'd be tearing his hair out. Notre Dame, they got Pittsburgh, Syracuse, and Stanford left.
Win.
And they're at number 9 right now. Do you think that there's any chance that they end up working their way out of here?
Out? Dude, yeah. Pittsburgh's got one of the best defenses in the country.
They do.
Their issue is on the other side of the ball, but Syracuse, no.
No.
What was the last? Don't they? I thought they always. Yeah, no. Stanford also decent on one side of the ball, but way, way, way less so. This is what you get when you're. Yeah, this is what you get when you pick and choose your schedule outside of a conference as much as you want. every single year. And again, and we talked about this last week. I'm not saying that Notre Dame necessarily needs to change, but there needs to be specific rules for not for basically teams that are in conferences versus teams that are not. I'm not going to sing the praises of the BCS in like using a computer to like exactly determine who's in and who's out, but there definitely needs to be a little bit more of a lean towards that because of the way that independent conferences can influence this. And there's something else that would be made better by 24 teams, at least in the college football playoff.
He's at 24.
Oh
At
my
least,
goodness.
at least.
So my thing has always been, I think that they bring back the computer with some alterations, and it should be an aggregate. It should be the AP,
Aggregate.
the committee, and the computer all put together,
Even
aggregated,
votes.
average. Was
Like
that?
each one would get like a third of a vote or whatever. Like it's all handled equally.
Yes. And then all put together, and what you average out with those three, that's how you come up with your 12. Or your 16, or your 24, you sicko.
At least.
These are
at least.
student athletes, sir. Goodness
Student
gracious.
athletes. South Park
Out
reference in the
here,
wild.
20-game seasons.
I think, especially given now that they're being paid for it, I believe that's like I mean, yeah, just like any other job, man. That is a deal. That is a deal, and a contract that an adult makes with an organization to make money and provide value for them. Right? That's where we live now, and that's how it always should have been. Well, maybe not always, but that's how it should have been since the early '90s, at least.
Another one that's interesting. Michigan, currently number 18. They have Northwestern and Maryland, down the stretch. But then they got Ohio State. This would not be the first year where Ohio State was looked at as this invincible juggernaut, and then for some reason just shit their pants when they played against Michigan. It's happened quite a few times in the last decade, actually. I'm just saying there might be depending on the other teams that take L's along the way here over these last 4 weeks. I don't know. Kind of interesting. What do you think of that path for Michigan there, Tay?
I mean, when you put it like, because I just said they there's like no way they make it. I mean, yeah, if they beat Ohio State, I can see that they could give them 11. They can put them to 11 or whatever. I mean, they beat the number 1 seed, so that's something. But they might not even be Northwestern. Northwestern, they kind of play. They played tough. They played someone tough last week. I can't remember, but Northwestern they be playing tough.
USC.
Yeah. And that's a Northwestern Michigan. That's a rivalry too. So I don't know. They might not even beat them, but I don't know. They don't get Ohio State this year. Like I know it was crazy they even did it last year, but there is no way. There is no way the Ohio State lose. Like I know I'm saying, but they're not this year. Ohio State's better than last year. Michigan, I don't know. Michigan's better, but nah.
What do you think of Michigan and the possible path there for Big Blue, Tug?
I love that Tay is saying all this while like actively laughing. Isn't it 4 years in a row that they've won, y'all? Like this is and granted, obviously 1 year they would go on to be national championships with an asterisk, in my opinion, whatever. But yeah, like last year I mean, it was the same situation. It was the same situation. Although I will admit that Ohio State's defense is like by the numbers, markedly eye test everything better than it was last year, right? But
Ohio State has a soft ass schedule. I'm just gonna say that.
Oh, I mean, it can also look soft when a team is like ranked number 1. This was done years before they won the national championship last year, right? Like the schedules are figured out, or are they? Because they went to a 9 game. That's actually a fantastic point that you made, or I heard in my head you making.
I mean, it's been soft. Either way, I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm not saying the schedules aren't set up in advance. But what I'm saying is they ain't played nobody who's worth a shit all year, except maybe Texas. But Texas
even then,
they weren't worth a damn when they played them.
Everybody thought they were world beaters. And I like Arch Manning. I like Arch Manning a whole lot, right? But yeah, Texas is probably Texas would be that same story if they hadn't pulled if half of these games where there are 1-score 3-point losses or something like that, if they'd given it up to Vandy after being up, I think like 28, like going into the fourth or like 30 seconds in like before the fourth quarter started or something like that, then this wouldn't even be a conversation. I think that Texas is going to get exposed in the playoffs, especially if they get in where at the seed that they get in.
Exposed. I don't know if you can expose a team that everybody doesn't really think is very good.
I mean, exposed by the fact that the playoff will be even putting them in, right?
Yeah,
Like ranked,
I got
sure,
you. Yeah.
sure, okay, top 25, sure. 10th, especially as the last slot in. I get it, SEC Big Ten bias in this, but yeah, I mean, there's other teams that I
Yeah,
think they could.
it's those horns. It's that logo that's carrying them. I
Yep.
think into this bracket
Yep.
right now.
It's a
But
logo
we'll see.
ranking.
I mean, hey, we're gonna see a lot here in a couple weeks. Too bad Josh isn't here. See if the Aggies can get over that Texas hump, maybe, because that's big business.
Give her the Gamecock up. What are you talking about?
Hey, that too. We're about to get into that.
Oh,
Interesting matchups this weekend. Can you sincerely give us a little insight into this? Should Aggie be worried about this South Carolina Gamecock game this weekend?
Yeah, they should be shaking in their boots. Gamecocks by 90.
Hey,
Darek, all right. Covering 19.5 points, sure. I don't bet on my team anymore. Like to cover any kind of spread to win, nothing like that. But 19.5 point cover, sure. But in Texas A&M at Kyle Field, especially after we did last year with Rocket Sanders, with a different defense, with other receivers, yeah, no. I do not believe that there's a world in which South Carolina wins this game, and that's okay. I have made my peace with the University of South Carolina of football season in the year of our Lord 2025.
So tomorrow night, I want to hear about this from Tay because these are Tay's boys. Minnesota at Oregon, Friday night matchup. Well, so it'll be tonight. It's a 25.5 point spread. PJ Fleck, what the hell is going on out here? This is not what we were expecting in year 4. What is it, year 4, year 5 of the PJ Fleck experience? Supposed to be coming over with all that nonsense that he brings. 25.5 points. Oregon is favored for. What's your thoughts on that one, Darte?
Double it. Double it. Minnesota. Nah, that's one of those practice weeks.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I tend to agree. Is Darius Taylor playing? I'm looking at news right now because that dude is insane. The freshman running back.
Mm.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
But even
dangerous there. Darius Taylor running game.
Yeah.
But if Oregon starts getting up on them fast, it ain't going to matter. They ain't going to be able to run the ball very much. Other interesting matchups this weekend. Notre Dame at Pittsburgh. I know we talked a little bit about the concerns, but are you going to go ahead and go Notre Dame? Their Tug.
I will not be actually placing anything on this game. I don't think, but I think that points is too many. Yeah, like 7.5, 8.5. I'd be like way more worried about taking this. But Pittsburgh, yeah, I might actually. It's in Pittsburgh too. 12.5 right now. I've seen 13. I would definitely, especially in matchups like this. Both teams with plenty to prove. Pittsburgh with 2 losses as well. Like you get completely 100% out of the question if you take 3 losses as a Pittsburgh squad in your 10th game, right? I don't care how Virginia games went earlier this season or whatever else like that, right? These are like rivalry games, and I would think the committee might like look upon this. But at ranked 22nd, you beat 9th. It's interesting. It's interesting. I don't think there's a world that Pittsburgh wins this, but 12.5, especially 13, or plus 13 Pittsburgh, I could 100% see that. This is one of those first quarter things. If you're really asking me, this is one of the first quarter things where I'll watch this game, and that's the first quarter. Once I see a couple of drives from both squads, I'll lay however I feel, and I can tell you right now that'd probably be towards Pittsburgh, just given how good their defense is.
Tay, what do you think, man? Notre Dame over Pitt?
I think Pittsburgh is going to be really good next year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Definitely. But they're one of those year away teams. And Notre Dame, when you were telling me, they got like the last few games, since they found a loophole, they don't have the conference championship game. So they just play their schedule because really they're in the ACC. I think they're in the ACC in every other sport, but
Subbing in for Ace this week as the Notre Dame hater is Tay.
No, I don't hate. I actually like Notre Dame, but yeah, this is like their playoff game. I feel like this is their win and get it, and get in. Like they'll win this, they'll probably stay at 9. They'll just give them the 9 because they come on, you're gonna give them 8. That's not fair. They don't have the conference. They just play whoever they want, so they can get 9.
Well, yeah, we had discussed Oklahoma and Texas being on the periphery, and you might not have to wait because both teams might be getting shown the door. There, Tug, you said they were going to get exposed in the playoff. You might not have to wait for the playoff for them to get exposed because they're playing Georgia this weekend, and depending on how that goes, that might be all we see of Texas as far as these playoffs. Are you going Georgia big?
Yes, I am. I've seen -5, even 5.5. I'm super comfortable with. I always talk about how there's not really a big difference between winning by 5 and winning by 6. Like, how often does a team win by 5 and not by 6?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. I love Georgia in this spot. The only reason I would see this not is just because Kirby Smart in that game manager kind of mind of his, he doesn't care about winning by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. He cares about winning by 1. Right.
This ain't the age of Saban anymore. Saban, man, those Alabama Saban teams, they made me so much money back in the day. Because
he'd be up 35.
Be out there. If it's worth winning by 20, it's worth winning by 50.
That's true. Hey, we can hark back into this in a second. Can we please talk about the Pat Narduzzi comments about, like, this is exactly what we're talking about, the whole Notre Dame thing. Do you know what I'm talking about, Arik?
No, go.
Okay. So Pat Narduzzi was asked basically like how they're viewing this game coming up against Notre Dame, obviously a non-conference rival. And he said, "We can lose by 100. I don't care as long as we win the next two being ACC games." He said, "We can lose by 100 points, and I do not care." Look it up.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the attitude I would want my head coach to have going into this game.
No, that was my as soon as I heard these comments, my first reaction was like, "What? Are you like head coach said this?" My second knee-jerk reaction was like a little like knowing kind of how this stuff works and thinking that Pat Narduzzi might have said to his players like, "Hey, I'm using this as a what's the word? Like not a soapbox. Like I'm using this as a platform to talk about how the non-conference standing of Notre Dame affects other squads." I think I would really like to think that he told his teams like, "Hey, I'm going to say something that does not reflect upon my like opinion or evaluation of you guys by any means. It does not truly reflect my opinion on how I'd like to run how I'd like to head coach a football team. I am going to make a political statement that has nothing to political, not left, right. You understand what I'm saying? A political statement on the basis of college football and how it goes, especially in relation to the playoffs. That's what I think Pat Narduzzi was talking about. Not talking about, but I think that's why he said those things.
Tay is did you ever watch the Fresh? Are you too young to watch the Fresh Prince?
No, I seen all of it.
Okay, so Tay is Georgia about to Jazzy Jeff Texas right out of the mansion right here? Are they about to send them packing?
Nah, I think it'd be the rare time where he stays in, man.
Oh,
I will admit Georgia is way better than Texas. Like, don't get me wrong. But I just think it just be one of those Texas. They're gonna make it weird. They're gonna make the whole SEC. It's gonna shake things up. I'm gonna go with Texas. Like they'll probably win off of a field goal or something like that.
Well, okay. So what I will say is that Georgia's passing game, their offense in general, is not particularly spectacular this year.
Neither is Texas.
But they're not particularly spectacular. On the other side, Texas's defense has risen up to be one of the top units in the nation since they started winning games. So I could see a path to what you're talking about where things get a little bit weird. Our last big matchup of the week, Oklahoma and Alabama. Is Alabama about to show Oklahoma the door?
Me first?
Yeah. Your name is Tug.
Sorry, you cut out there for a second. Yes, I'm pretty confident this. The way that Ty Simpson has been running this passing offense, Oklahoma's defense is good, but they're much better when they're able to get to the quarterback like much quicker than other teams. And I just don't think this offensive line is going to completely lay down like that. He's going to be able to get the ball out quickly and for like even short dink and dunk passes, and that's all they really need to do because John Mateer has simply not been playing like himself. I think we'll read about this and the whole surgeon that worked on his thumb and was thanked by the state of Oklahoma and stuff like that. I think we're going to read about this like almost like a case study in years from now about lost value when you hurry up medical procedures, even if you can do it right now. That does not necessarily mean that you need to, because John Mateer, you can lick your finger, put it on a line somewhere, and John Mateer played like this before surgery, and John Mateer played like this after surgery, and you cannot. And so far, there's nothing about after surgery that has been better beforehand. Rushing, passing the ball deep, passing the ball short, getting away, like anything. Everything has been at least slightly worse post surgery for John Mateer.
What do you think, Tay? Does Oklahoma stay or go? John Mateer comes back, hero ball, or is it over for Oklahoma?
Well, nah, I don't think they're just on the same level as Bama. Like, I don't know. Oklahoma is like they're more like with the Iowas and USC's. I feel like they're just a little too high right now. I don't know. They just haven't been the same. They lost that flair. Like that Oklahoma, they used to be ranked. They used to be in the top 3 every year. They kind of lost it, and they'll lose to Bama. That definitely. Bama's improved, since the first week, and they've been rolling. So, yeah.
I think as the NIL era continues on, I think Oklahoma's going to be back someday because there's a lot of people who care a lot about Oklahoma football who got a lot of money, and that's right up there in oil country as well. So I think in time, once this all gets more smoothed out and becomes more regular, I think Oklahoma will be fully back. But I do agree. Right now, they're on that lower tier, that next tier down, and I think they're going to be shown the door this weekend. We exist up at the top tier of sports content production here on United Football Media and on DAR Sports Media. We thank you guys for checking in. Bump on over to the NFL show we posted yesterday. A lot of stuff going on there. We got San Antonio Toros team owner Josh Barron on there with me, talking down the NFL. We appreciate you guys. We will see you next week. And if you're watching on DAR Sports Media, take a look, keep tuned for all the cool stuff. We got another media based medium backup episode coming up next week. So check that out when it comes out. And then, of course, all of our great football content. This is United Football Media. Tell me about it.